Over the last few years, it feels like more rappers have ended up in the courtroom than on tour. From sprawling RICO cases to federal raids and shocking indictments, hip-hop has been fighting for its life in front of a judge. And through it all, one man keeps showing up right at the center of the biggest battles. His name is Brian Steele, a quiet, disciplined, almost monk-like defense attorney who's become the ultimate fixer when the stakes couldn't be higher. Is he the generation's Johnny Cochran, or has Brian Steele redefined what a celebrity defense lawyer even looks like? Let's break down how he rose to power and why he might be the most feared man in the courtroom today. Now check this. Brian Steele was born in Queens, New York back in 1965. He earned his business degree at the University of Michigan and went on to graduate from Fordham Law in 1990. But believe it or not, his first job was at Price Waterhouse doing tax law. It wasn't until a heartbreaking retrial of Michael Courtroom that Steele felt the pull he couldn't ignore. By 1991, he left the cushy corporate life and moved to Atlanta. There he cut his teeth as a public defender, learning to cross-examine cops, rip apart faulty warrants, and protect people who couldn't afford any help at all. Steele co-founded his own practice in 1997, building it from the ground up. Over the next 20-plus years, he quietly became a force of nature in Georgia law. Today, he's credited with around 300 published opinions and over 45 reversals, easily making him one of the most successful appellate defense attorneys in the state's history. His secret? A mind like a steel trap. Friends say he can read 500 pages overnight and zero in on the one paragraph that will blow the entire prosecution apart. Question: what really sets Brian Steele apart, even more than his legal genius? It's his personal code. He doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, doesn't even curse. Steele runs marathons, keeps a toothbrush in his briefcase, and in court, he's been known to literally kiss his own fingers whenever death is mentioned out of respect for human life. His clients, from broke teenagers to multi-millionaire rappers, all said the same thing. Steele never makes it about him. He lives to serve. Brian Steele's name really exploded into pop culture during the Young Thug RICO case, the longest criminal trial Georgia has ever seen, running over 22 months. Prosecutors tried to paint Young Thug as the violent leader of a criminal street gang. Steele flipped the narrative completely, arguing his lyrics were nothing but creative storytelling. In court, he told jurors, "Thug stands for truly humble under God." He called Young Thug an inspiring story, someone who lifted his entire neighborhood out of poverty with music.
That was not what Thug meant to Jeffrey. Thug meant and means to Jeffrey something very personal. It was his pact that if he could ever make it as a musical artist and help his family, himself, and his many others out of this endless cycle of hopelessness, he would be truly humble under God. That's what Thug means.
But the real Brian Steele legend was born during a stunning moment of courtroom drama. When ordered to reveal a confidential source, something that could violate attorney-client privilege, Steele refused. The judge found him in contempt. Steele was arrested and literally taken to jail right in front of his client.
You all are really getting yourselves cross purposes at this point in time. Sir, I'm telling you, you are at this point in time. You made some things out of nothing. I think that you're on very precarious ground at this point in time. So I'm telling you at this point in time, he's in custody. We're going to go ahead and start. You can represent Mr. Williams. That's okay. That's fine. I'll take up the other stuff as needed. All right. Take Mr. Steele into custody, please. Mr. Williams does not wish to go forward without me being here. You are removing me against his will, my will. You're taking away his right to counsel. And you're conducting material parts of this trial without me present, and I can't learn about it by watching online. So for that reason, additionally, I asked for a mistrial. And I assume you deny, but I'd like you to deny our motions for mistrial. You denied the other people.
I've denied your motion, but I'll certainly take that under advisement, sir.
Days later, the Georgia Supreme Court overturned it unanimously, defending Steele's right to protect privileged information, as they should.
The Georgia Supreme Court overturned a contempt of court charge for one of the attorneys who represents Young Thug in the YSL RICO trial. The Supreme Court found that since Judge Glanville was involved in the controversial meeting, he should have recused himself from the contempt judgment and reversed the decision. Glanville is now off the bench for the YSL trial, which started in November of last year.
It didn't just save Young Thug, it cemented Brian Steele as the kind of lawyer who'd rather go to jail himself than betray his client. In 2025, hip-hop faced another bombshell. Sean Diddy Combs charged with sex trafficking and racketeering in New York. But who did Diddy call? None other than Brian Steele. Steele joined the powerhouse legal team including Mark Garagas and Alexandra Shapiro, but it was Steele who made headlines for a ruthless cross-examination of a key accuser. He reads texts aloud in court that said, "I love you with all my heart, and I'm still here with you forever." Critics called it humiliating, but the judge ruled Steele was simply exposing contradictions and it wasn't harassment. So, is Brian Steele this generation's Johnny Cochran? Not even close, and that's exactly the point. Cochran made his mark through spectacle, catchy rhymes, TV cameras, global drama. Steele, he's quiet, disciplined. He doesn't chase headlines. He chases appellate errors that can overturn an entire case. Short and sweet, it's brains over bravado. No showboating, no circus, just surgical cross-examinations and a staggering reversal record that's left prosecutors terrified. Brian Steele proves you don't have to be loud to be legendary. When your freedom is on the line or your entire life hangs in the balance, flash doesn't win cases, preparation does, principles do. That's why the biggest names in hip-hop call Brian Steele to this day. Because when everything's falling apart, they want the guy who will go to jail himself before he lets his clients down. They want Steele. So who do you think is the greatest celebrity defense attorney of all time? Johnny Cochran? Brian Steele? Or someone else entirely? Drop your take in the comments. Hit that like button if you want more deep dives into the power players behind the biggest headlines. And don't forget to subscribe, because we got even crazier stories on the way. And as always, until next time, protect your NRG.